Here are the results of Kevin Fox's blue light story. When management looked at the list of blue light interferences, they realized that many did not require the skill and experience of trained welders. Many of the tasks to increase blue light could be performed by someone with minimal training and a good attitude. So they quickly hired a helper for the welding area. Instead of providing a list of activities for the helper, they gave him one instruction: increase the blue light. They did provide him some ideas, but left it up to him to decide exactly what to do. The new helper was a recent high school graduate. He had been a football player and had the strength to do heavy lifting. But more importantly, he had a great attitude and a desire to succeed. He started by helping the welders move the heavy bumpers on and off the welding table, so that only one welder was required for this task. When he saw the welders peeling plastic, he asked them to show him where the plastic needed to be peeled back on each bumper, and was soon doing this task by himself. Later on, he saw other activities he could do to increase blue light, but he didn't have the time to pursue them. So he decided that plastic peeling should be offloaded to the people at plating, the preceding operation. He proposed the idea to the superintendent and suggested that the plating people had free time since they had been able to bury welding with a mountain of inventory. When the superintendent responded that the plating people didn't know where to peel the plastic, he produced a stack of handwritten drawings showing where it should be peeled on each part number. Soon the plastic peeling was being done upstream, freeing him to attack other blue light interferences. With his additional time, he began to full kit every job for the welders. So when they finished one order, everything needed for the next one was immediately available. The full kit included the bumpers, components, jigs, special clamps, and the paperwork that traveled with the order. In the process, he discovered that the component storeroom was a disaster. More than a dozen welders, all under pressure to produce more, were going in and out of the storeroom to get struts, jigs, and fixtures. There was no discipline or organization. The welders didn't have time to worry about the accuracy of labels, locations, or part counts. They were under pressure to weld more bumpers. As a result, there was a large discrepancy between the actual inventory of struts and the formal inventory system, which meant that the plant often produced items that were not needed while failing to produce those that were urgently needed. The helper declared that the storeroom was his and told each welder he would bring whatever they needed. He set about cleaning up the storeroom, correcting labels, establishing consistent locations, and updating the inventory system so it reflected what was actually on hand. Soon the parts on hand matched the formal inventory system, and production produced what was needed, resulting in fewer part shortages at welding, more blue light time. Within 6 weeks, the pile of bumpers had been cut in half, and in another 2 months, the company was on time to its customers, and overtime was reduced to almost zero. More importantly, profits nearly doubled and were sustained at that level going forward. Shipments increased significantly, and the only additional costs were for raw materials. The helpers' wages were more than offset by the reduction in overtime. The result was that 50% of the additional sales dropped to the bottom line. On top of it, everyone's quality of life and job satisfaction improved. The welders were free to use the skills and expertise they had spent years developing. The new hire quickly became the most popular guy in the department. Customer service and sales spent much less time and energy responding to customer calls and complaints, and were free to focus on opportunities to grow sales. Expediting and firefighting dropped to almost zero, providing a more stable and consistent flow. Production control spent less time rescheduling activities and focused on streamlining their own processes. Manufacturing engineering was able to see more clearly and implement changes that improved the total system. Executive management was able to return to growing the business instead of focusing on juggling cash flow and keeping customers from leaving. This is a true story. We have found that its lessons apply broadly and have positively impacted many companies. Kevin's initial claim that companies almost always have a considerable amount of excess capacity is a valid one, and the amount is often much greater than 25%. You viewers probably discovered this fact if you did an analysis of your own bottlenecks. You probably have also discovered there are fast, low, no-cost solutions to increasing your own blue light. The key is to see the business from a different perspective and not to settle for the easiest solutions, like hiring more people, working long hours, or investing in expensive equipment or software. Before you move on, conduct your own analysis of how much additional sales might impact your bottom line. You need only a few pieces of data to do the analysis. Your current sales, less the cost that are truly variable with volume. Raw material costs are usually a good starting point. We call the result of the calculation throughput. Divide the throughput by sales and you get a percentage. This percentage times additional sales is what drops to the bottom line when you increase sales without increasing the cost of running the business, your operating expenses. Even when you need to increase operating expense, the increase is usually dwarfed by the throughput increase. Using your results, decide for yourself if it makes sense to proceed to the next video, which questions whether the bumper plant story was a huge success, but also a major missed opportunity.